Yeah, Brandon has these dreams of having a compound and hoarding our babies on this property so that he can be like super grandpa. He just wants to be super grandpa. And
hey, look, life is not easy. Anything good worth having isn't easy, but add to that the complexity of being an entrepreneur, being married, having children. We have done a lot of things right. We made a few $1 million. We probably lost a few $1 million. We made some mistakes along the way, but one thing that we are really good at is relationships.
That's right. We have been together for almost 2 decades.
And we've been through hell and back together.
Yeah, we have. And we used to think that we were the only ones like us out there.
But, especially in our entrepreneurial ventures, we started meeting other ride or die couples that were going through the exact same things that we were going through. And they kept coming to us talking about advice and looking for solutions and really ways to help their relationship thrive. So we just knew there had to be a tribe of us out there. There's no way we could be the only ones out there.
We are getting real and raw, guys.
That's what he said.
Oh my God, babe. From dating to marriage to kids and even sex.
Even how to fight the right way.
We're gonna be committed to being open and honest with you because we believe in your relationship too. Welcome to the Ride or Die podcast. Hello guys, what's going on?
What's up?
Thank you for coming back, or for the first time. If you're here for the first time, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Episode 124.
We are on a series.
How crazy
We're
is that?
running a series for our Leader in Me training. How crazy is 124? I don't know. It's crazy.
With lots of breaks, like we take the summer off and stuff. It's crazy. Yes, Leader in Me. So we talked to you guys and we had a really good response. So we're going to keep this going. We just had class this week again on, Stephen Covey, and Franklin's taken that over, obviously, as his dad has passed on. He's taken over the whole education of the Leader in Me for the parents and what the kids are learning at school. We talked about being proactive on the last episode. But we want to move on with a couple new
Habits. Habit number
that they
2.
brought in. Yeah,
this
so
week
habit number 2
is
beginning with the end in mind. Which, how much do we do that in business? Like, you set
Always.
a goal, you see your goal, you go to your goal. That's beginning with the end in mind, right? So they're saying, let's take that a step further. Let's talk about this within the family. So we had some questions that they brought up. Again, this is the whole training series. This is not our content. We're just sharing our opinions and feedback on what we learned. And Brandon and I go to 2 separate classes, which I love because then when we get together, we get to kind of compare notes and talk about, well, we should just talk about the 2 stories. Like I had a story, you had a story, but we actually haven't shared that story yet about class. So like your class versus my class. Anyway.
No, we don't need to share that. We'll just get right to the content.
So cool. Well, it's funny. And I want to tell you my story, so don't tell me what to do, buddy. All right, beginning with the end in mind. So they wanted to take us on like a personal discovery. We broke up into groups because we don't, it's a short class. We don't have time to go through every question. But they challenge us when we go home to go through these questions. So if you want to jot these down, answer them by yourself, and then go and talk to your spouse, your significant other about these things. And maybe even ask your kids if they're at an age where you can, bring up some of these questions. I don't think all of them. Some of them are probably...
Are you...
My kids are not old enough for all these questions.
What number did you have to answer? Did you answer any one of these?
Yeah, I had to answer number 7.
I had to answer number 2.
Yeah, because that's where you sit.
We'll share that. Yeah.
All right, so you want to just share the 2 that we did? Okay, well, number 1 was think of a person you admire. What qualities does that person possess that you would like to develop? So that's a good question. Makes you really think about things that maybe you feel like you're lacking, that you want to improve yourself on. Number 2, so Brandon's group answered, imagine it's 20 years from now. You are surrounded by the most important people in your life. Who are they and what are you doing? Who are they and what are you doing?
I said a family cookout on our compound. I need a nice big plot of land that can just
He wants to
entertain a whole bunch of people.
Our babies forever.
On our compound with kids, wife, grandkids, aunts, uncles, and family. 20 years from now, I probably won't have grandkids, but hey, you never know. Maybe
you mean like
20, 25,
Auntie
and
Kristen and Auntie Erica,
yeah,
right?
that's why I said, yeah.
Like those aunts.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, exactly.
Awesome. Okay. I like that. That's nice. That's a feel-gooder.
That's what I enjoy
Brandon has
doing.
these dreams of having a compound and hoarding our babies on this property so that he can be like super grandpa. He just wants to be super grandpa. And let's face it, he had children because he wants grandchildren. That was like his goal, his life goal. Watching them run around the yard while you're on the porch in your rocking chair drinking your Arnold Palmers. It's going to be cute. You're going to be such a cute grandpa.
If a steel beam 6 inches wide were placed across 2 skyscrapers, what would you be willing to cross it for? Yikes.
Cross it for.
That's scary.
That's a scary one. I'm glad that our group didn't get that because I immediately said nothing. And then they were like, my kids. And I was like, oh, crap. They're like really going deep here. And I was like, I don't know. I might just try to run down the elevator.
We should just put these in the show notes.
And we can read them.
Okay.
This was so weird that it's at the bottom. 4. If you could spend a day doing whatever you wanted, where would it be? What would you be doing? And would you be with anyone? This one was interesting. In my class, the guy of that group spoke up real fast, and he was all about vacation. It was like, he must work hard or something because it was all about going to take a trip. I would have to sit down and think about this one, but I don't know that it would necessarily be on a vacation. I like the good quality family time things we do on the weekends. I don't know. It's an interesting one. You would have work somewhere mixed into that day. You can't just play.
Number 5.
It's impossible for you.
I don't know. List 3 words that describe you. That's a simple one.
Well, that's super simple. 6. What are 5 things that you love to do?
7. It's your 75th birthday party, and
this is the one we answered, my group.
Everyone is standing up to say something about the kind of person you've been. What would they say?
It's your 75th birthday party, and everyone is standing up to say something about the kind of person you've been. Well, let me ask before I answer, because I remember most of the words. Somebody else in our group wrote them down. We worked together as a team on our answer. We didn't answer individually. It was weird. Half of the class did it one way, and the left side of the class answered individually. The right-hand side of the class answered as teams. It's very odd. So anyway, what would you say they say about me? And then I'll tell you what I said.
They would say things to the effect of, like, we appreciate your outspokenness and life of the party and, wildness, because if it was just Brandon around, you'd be very, very bored. That's probably what they'd say.
Okay, so I immediately said...
Good friend, things like that.
I immediately said, I'm loud, I'm loyal, I'm honest, and I'm a good friend. That's what I said. So that's about myself. And then the other people in the group added other qualities that I think I do possess somewhere in there, but aren't necessarily the things that I thought of, which were nice. Like one said, very motherly, like she's the motherly one of the group. And there's a father sitting next to me whose name was Brandon, so that's a trip. Every time I said Brandon, it was weirding him out until he realized that was my husband's name. He said faithful, which I loved. I was like, it must be a Brandon thing because my Brandon's super faithful too. So it was really cool to hear. It's nice when you have to think of positive things about yourself. It's cool. But what would people say about you on your 75th birthday? And if you only have bad things to jot down, then maybe it's time to make a little transition here, right? Describe a time when you were deeply inspired.
And the last one, if you could spend an hour
Oh.
with any person who ever lived, who would it be and why did you choose that person?
Yikes, that would take me time to think about.
Yeah.
We didn't even get that far in ours.
So fun little exercise on, who am I? Who am I?
And the whole purpose
What does it mean?
Yes, the whole purpose of getting yourself into that mind frame is to then move on and make a family mission statement. You may have already made something like this. If you haven't, it's been years ago, sit back down and do it again. Or what I'm realizing is we have our beliefs, but we've never sat down and done one with our kids. So I'd love to sit down, but they showed us this like inspirational clip, this like 3-minute clip of the movie. And then we were just immediately supposed to jot down it was like 2 or 3 minutes, just jot down the first thing that came to mind. We're not supposed to erase, overthink, we're just supposed to write. I love activities like this because you don't give yourself enough time to edit yourself. It is just your raw first thoughts. So I'm curious, do you want to share what you stand for?
If you insist.
I do. Let's share it.
It's not very polished.
That's okay. Neither is mine. It's just literally what came to mind.
All right. What do I want my family to stand for? Unconditional love, compassion for others, and making the world better. My family will have empathy and seek to help those who have not been able to help themselves. Above all else, we put God and family first. We stand for growth, never being too comfortable or settling for average. We know our gifts and time can help others.
I think I was a little more selfish, but naturally, I think that's always the way our relationship has been. But I did say some similar things too, which is, awesome that at least we're on the same page a little bit here. What do I want my family to stand for? Immediately when I knew we were doing this activity, I didn't want to forget, and I wrote down connection, purpose, love. Those were like my 3 notes to guide me. I want an everlasting connection with my husband and our children. My family will all have purpose, not only in our home, but also out in the world. We will strive to inspire, to be inspired, and always push for growth and self-improvement. Honesty is the best policy, so don't do anything you'd be afraid to be truthful about. We will live in integrity, be honest, be kind, love hard, and laugh often. We will be willing to help others and ask for help when we need it. That's all I had time for. I
think that's pretty...
Could have kept going. They were really pretty similar.
Pretty similar.
But yeah, sit down and write your family mission statement. I like that we get to do these things separately. I love that we come together and we're sharing them. Literally, I didn't know his and he didn't know mine until just a moment ago when you heard them. And I want to sit down and do this with the kids. I feel like at 4, Max needs
and it's
to be
always changing.
Ice cream. But
they said don't feel like you got to have the one answer and it's stuck. We're all growing. We're not done. None of us are done until the last day. So just like in business, they would say what are your goals and whatever. But don't be afraid to have the wrong answer or
right.
It's going to change because you're going to be a different person. Your family is going to be totally different in a few years. So just get out what feels right now and, make this a regular exercise, yearly that you kind of review the mission statement and solidify what the family stands for. And if it has to change, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, especially when I think about the kids. The kids, obviously their brains are going to develop so much over the next 5 years. Peyton's going to go from 6 to 11. That's a big change in a child's life. So I'll be really interested to look back at our notes, now until 5 years from now and kind of see where was her head at when she was 6 and then how much did it change? That's the type of stuff I'm excited for. So I feel like ours, it's going to just develop more meaning, where I think we're at an age where we kind of know what we want and I would say the last 2-3 years, we've really known what we want. We're not kind of questioning our lives anymore. We know where we are, we know where we want to go, we know where we want to take our family, and then it's just what is the path that's going to take us there, and we kind of develop on that a little bit more and find more meaning for life and our life together. But the kids, they're going to change. Max is going to go from mission statement, let's make sure we have family date night once a week is probably going to be important to him, to what is he going to think when he's 10? It's so cool. Might be about superheroes and stuff right now, but maybe it'll develop a little bit more meaningful, actually going out and being a superhero. I
like this because as it becomes a part of, as the kids get it, just subconsciously, they'll know when things are, obviously right or wrong, but they'll know the Middletons don't do that. We, what we stand for, what we stand against. So when faced with challenge and, multiple paths, which happen, every day, a kid's gonna, he's gonna know oh no, in our family, we don't stand for that,
Having the confidence to just be who we are and be super proud of it is something that I'm glad, I'm so glad that we waited so many years to have kids because we didn't know who we were when, 10 years ago, we were kids and we didn't know who we wanted to be. And that we have such more of a clear vision, we're able to help the kids develop that, and I don't see them. Last year, I think Max was a lot more vulnerable to his surroundings than he is this year. I think this year he kind of has more confidence in who he is and the type of person he aspires to be, or even if he knows he should be in class. And he's really proud when he steps up to the plate and is that person. So it's cool. I'm excited. It's exciting stuff to go through this with the family, let me tell you. I should look into more online and see if they actually do this somewhere. I'm sure they do, that like our podcast listeners can take it home with their families besides our little cliff notes here.
I have 2 last notes that I made on this habit of putting, beginning with the end in mind. It said, the time I spent with blank was special because blank. I don't know where that came up, but...
It's on the next habit, but that's okay.
Oh.
It's okay. We'll just repeat it. It's important.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. It's okay. Repetition is not like a bad thing.
The time I spend with family builds fond memories. So you've heard me talk about I think we're up to like 85,000 photos and 30,000 video clips in our iPhone. But I take the opportunity to like review those with the kids, because we could have a hard week and they could feel like they're in trouble a lot, or, you know, there's no fun, or maybe, you know, they doubt like, does mom and dad care that much because I'm in trouble? I like to show them like videos, or maybe one of them feels like, oh, you know, Max gets so much more attention, or Peyton gets so much more attention. So I like to show them those memories and show them the videos of when they were a baby and they were getting all this one-on-one time, or, you know, 2 years ago and we took this trip to, you know, Disney. I like them to, because obviously they were too young then to remember, but now there's so many fond memories, and ultimately that's what the kids, you know, are going to remember. They're not going to remember how much money mom and dad made. They're not, you know, as long as they have their basic needs met, what's really important to them is going to be those memories, not the stupid toy or the, you know,
just
whatever.
As a big sidebar though, real fast, because I want your opinion on this, like as a husband and wife side, let's put the kids aside. Like the kids aren't going to remember those things, but we will. We'll remember if we, like, I feel like when our life isn't as, it could be busy, but when we're financially fit, everything is easier than when we're financially struggling, right? Mm-hmm. Those moments where we financially struggled have been tough. So, you know, we're on the other side now, and these things could seem a lot easier to just say. Like, it's not about, you know, the money you make, it's about the memories you're creating, but it is important to keep that stuff in mind. Right? Like, I mean, I feel like if we were struggling financially, it wouldn't. I guess what I'm saying is, would be a lot harder.
5 years from now, I couldn't be like, "What do you mean?" You know, if Peyton's struggling with something, I can't be like, "Well, what do you mean? Don't you remember when I bought you that thing 5 years?" She's gonna be like, "I don't give a shit about that." You know.
She better not say that in 5 years.
It's the memories.
I don't give a shit about that.
All right. Any last words for beginning with the end in mind?
Yes. Pull out your cell phones, or however you guys log some calendar time, and put this in your calendar to sit down and write your family mission statement, something they challenged us to do. It doesn't have to be this week. Like, I looked at the calendar and they said do it this week, and I was like, no way, that's happening. So I did it a week from now, and I know we'll actually fulfill on it. But I know us, and I trust that we'll get it done, versus I know they just wanted people to go take action. So go put it down, like a little writer-downer in the calendar when you guys have, you know, time to sit down as a family. Even if it's just for 20, 30 minutes, we didn't work on this very long. So
when we're done, I think we need to put it in like very ornate,
like
nice
frame. You want to hang it somewhere in the home.
Oh yeah, I want it to be something like that they like.
We see it all the time.
The kids memorize it after a while. That would be awesome.
Our little pledge every morning.
I don't know if we'll laugh hard, but yeah.
I can see him doing it. Repeat after me. I'm just kidding. Anyway, come see us next week. We're going to talk about putting first things first, which is like what's really important in your life. What are you actually doing? And where can you fit more important stuff in? So it's going to be a good podcast. Come back and see us. Thank you for joining us. Come like us on Instagram and Facebook. Follow us on IG. Watch our stories. We both are posting
Most
on there.
importantly, share. Share this with someone you think needs to hear it.
Have a good one.
Later.